Everything stopped the moment the livestream hit its final countdown. Fans were typing so fast, the chat almost froze. And then right as the timer hit 0, The Chosen team dropped a reveal so unexpected that even longtime followers were stunned into silence. Nobody saw it coming. Not the fans, not the theorists, not even some of the cast. And from that moment on, the entire livestream changed from a simple update into a shockwave across the whole community. It felt like the world paused for one long breath. The livestream screen flickered, the music shifted, and thousands of people leaned forward at the same time. For weeks, fans had been guessing what Season 6 would bring: new characters, new story arcs, maybe even a surprise scene reveal. But nothing prepared them for what happened the second the livestream hit its opening frame. Instead of a normal greeting or a soft introduction, the screen cut straight to a short reel of unseen footage. It was dim, fast, and emotional, filled with flashes of characters and moments that no one recognized. The clips moved too quickly to fully understand, but everyone watching felt the same thing. Something big was coming. Comments exploded instantly. People spammed question marks. Some shouted theories, others just typed, "What is this?" again and again. Then the footage ended with one single line in bold white letters: "The final journey begins." That was it. No explanation. No narration. Just a message strong enough to send chills through the entire fandom. For years, The Chosen had been building toward something. But nobody thought the creators would hint at a final chapter this soon. The livestream wasn't even 2 minutes old, and already the atmosphere had shifted from excitement to shock. As the camera faded back to the studio, even the cast looked tense. Their faces showed a mix of pride and sadness, like they were carrying a secret too heavy to hide. And in that silent pause before the director started speaking, every viewer felt a sudden knot in their stomach. This wasn't just another update. It wasn't just a hype stream. It was the beginning of a turning point in The Chosen's entire journey. A moment that would reshape everything fans thought they knew about Season 6 before that shocking livestream moment. Fans had already been walking a long emotional road with The Chosen. Season after season, the story grew deeper, heavier, more personal, not only for the characters on screen, but for everyone watching from home. With every episode, the weight of the journey increased. The friendships, the sacrifices, the miracles, and the heartbreaks all pushed the story toward something bigger. And by the time Season 5 ended, it was clear the peaceful days were gone. Something darker was approaching, and Season 6 would be the doorway into it. Throughout the past seasons, viewers watched the disciples change from ordinary men into leaders carrying impossible responsibility. They witnessed tension rising between communities, pressure building on Jesus, and fear growing among those in power. Each moment, each tiny choice, felt like a piece of a puzzle, slowly locking into place. Fans felt all of it. They weren't just watching a show, they were growing with the characters. So when Season 5 closed on a note filled with loss, confusion, and unanswered questions, the audience knew the next chapter would not be gentle. This is why the road to Season 6 carried so much weight. Fans were hungry for answers. They wanted to know how the disciples would recover, how Jesus would guide them, and how the rising conflict would reshape everything they believed. Online communities discussed theories day and night. People rewatched episodes to catch small clues they might have missed. In every new interview, every behind-the-scenes photo, every tiny teaser fed into the same thought: Season 6 is going to change everything. That tension built for months. Even the cast hinted at it during smaller live streams. Their words were careful, their expressions serious, almost protective. They spoke like people holding something sacred, something they couldn't reveal yet. And so, by the time the Season 6 live stream was announced, the entire fan base felt a mix of excitement and dread. They knew the story was heading toward the most emotional part of the journey. They just didn't know how soon it would hit, but nothing absolutely. Nothing suggested the live stream would begin with a message hinting at a final chapter. The build-up to Season 6 had always felt like a climb toward something massive, but the idea of an ending? That wasn't even on the table. This is why the shock hit so hard. The journey that fans had walked for years suddenly looked different, heavier, and far more meaningful. And little did they know, the live stream had only started. The biggest reveal was still waiting ahead. The energy inside the live stream didn't just feel exciting, it felt electric, almost like the air was buzzing. Before a single word was spoken, you could sense that everyone from the cast to the viewers understood that something important was about to happen. The live chat moved so fast it was impossible to read. Messages shot up the screen like sparks, each one filled with hope, fear, or pure anticipation. People from around the world gathered in one place, united by one question. What will Season 6 become? Even the studio setup added to the tension. The lights were lower than usual, creating a warm but serious tone. The cast didn't sit in their normal relaxed positions. Instead, they leaned forward, hands clasped, or resting tensely on their knees. Their eyes carried that same mix of joy and weight you see before someone shares something life-changing. Every small detail, the camera angles, the pauses, the music felt planned to the second, as if the team knew the world would be hanging on their every move. What made the atmosphere even more intense was the silence that followed the opening teaser. For a moment, nobody spoke. Not the hosts, not the cast. It was a silence that didn't feel empty. It felt full, like the room was holding its breath. Fans expected a warm greeting, maybe a quick joke to ease them in. Instead, they were met with a quiet so heavy it felt like news was waiting just behind it. And then came the reactions from the people on stage. You could see it in their faces. They weren't just there to promote another season. They were there to reveal something deeply personal to them. A few cast members exchanged small glances, as if checking whether the others were ready. One of them smiled, but it wasn't the usual excited smile. It was soft, almost sad, like they were preparing the audience for an emotional shift. Meanwhile, the chat kept exploding. Some fans said they were shaking. Others typed, "I have chills." What does final journey mean? And is Season 6 the end? The tension built so quickly that even people watching hours later during a replay could feel it. It didn't feel like a typical live stream anymore. It felt like the start of a historic announcement. Then the director finally leaned toward the microphone. His voice didn't have its usual upbeat tone. Instead, he spoke slowly, carefully, like every word carried weight. He thanked the fans. But even that felt different. Personal, heavy, genuine. In that moment, everyone watching knew they weren't just getting news about Season 6. They were about to be pulled into one of the most emotional reveals in The Chosen's history, and the next word spoken would leave fans stunned. The tension in the room broke the moment the director clicked a small remote in his hand. The screen behind him lit up again, bright, sudden, and impossible to ignore. But this time, it wasn't a teaser clip or a dramatic message. It was something far more shocking. A brand new Season 6 scene that had never been shown to the public. No warning. No build-up. Just a raw piece of the next chapter dropped right into the middle of the live stream. The chat went wild instantly. People typed random letters, emojis, anything their fingers could hit because the shock was too real. The scene opened with Jesus standing in a place that fans immediately recognized. But the look on his face was different, more serious than ever before. The moment felt heavy, like a storm was forming around him and just behind him. The disciples stood close together, their faces full of fear and confusion. That alone was enough to make viewers lean forward. But then something unexpected happened. The camera shifted to show a crowd gathering in the distance, moving with purpose, as if drawn by something urgent and unstoppable. Then cut. The clip ended right there. No explanation. No context. Just a powerful moment dropped like a stone into a quiet lake, sending shockwaves everywhere. People begged to see more. Some wrote, "Play IT again," while others were convinced they had just witnessed the beginning of the darkest chapter of the series. What made the scene even more overwhelming was the silence in the studio afterward. The cast wasn't smiling. They weren't laughing or reacting like it was a simple preview. Their faces showed the weight of what viewers had just seen. The director finally spoke. but his voice carried a tone that confirmed what everyone suspected. This scene marks the moment where everything begins to change. And just like that, the livestream wasn't about speculation anymore. It wasn't about fun updates or casual hints. It was about truth. Raw, emotional truth. Something in the story was shifting. The creators wanted fans to feel that shift deep in their chest. The reveal didn't just surprise people, it shook them. Because this wasn't a normal preview, this was a message, signal, a warning. Season 6 would not hold back, and for the first time, fans understood that the road ahead was far more intense than they had imagined. Just when fans were still trying to recover from the first surprise, the director paused, looked at the cast, and said something that made everyone straighten up in their seats. "We have another reveal, and this one changes everything." His voice wasn't dramatic on purpose, it was naturally serious, almost heavy. As if he knew the next few seconds would echo through the entire fan base. The lights in the studio dimmed again. But this time, the screen didn't show a scene or message. Instead, it displayed a single photograph. A cast photo, but not one fans had ever seen before. It showed the disciples in costumes that looked noticeably older, worn, and stressed. Their faces carried deeper lines, their expressions more intense, almost haunted. But what sent fans into full meltdown was the empty space in the middle of the photo. A space where someone important should have been. Someone who had always been there. The chat exploded instantly. People typed the same question again and again. Where is he? Nobody wanted to say the name out loud, but everyone was thinking the same thing. Was this a hint about a missing character? A major story shift? A tragic moment from scripture finally coming to life. Every possible theory spread through the chat in seconds, turning the livestream into a storm of confusion and fear. The cast didn't help calm the chaos. In fact, their reactions only made it worse. One cast member looked down, unable to meet the camera. Another wiped their eyes. The director kept his hands folded tightly, as if choosing every word with extreme care. When he finally explained the photo, he didn't give a clear answer. Instead, he said, Season 6 will take the disciples into the hardest moments of their lives. And some scenes will reflect that loss in ways we have never shown before. That one statement shattered any remaining sense of comfort. Fans realized this wasn't just a symbolic image. It was a warning about the emotional weight of the season. The story was moving into a part of history filled with pain, confusion, and heartbreak. And the creators were preparing viewers for it now so it wouldn't crush them later. The photo disappeared, but the tension remained. Viewers felt that something huge, something they had been expecting but never truly ready for, was finally approaching. It wasn't just another reveal. It wasn't just another teaser. It was a sign that The Chosen was stepping into its boldest storytelling yet, and the live stream was far from over. The next reveal would reach even deeper. Just when viewers thought the live stream couldn't get any heavier, the director leaned back in his chair and said something that froze the entire chat. There's one more thing we need to talk about. Something behind the scenes. His tone didn't match the polished excitement of a typical announcement. Instead, it sounded honest. Vulnerable, like someone finally confessing a truth they had carried for too long. The screen behind him shifted once more. But this time it didn't show footage or photos. It showed raw clips from the set moments the audience was never supposed to see. Cameras shaking during emotional scenes. Cast members wiping away tears between takes. Crew members standing silently as the weight of certain scenes settled over them. These weren't mistakes or bloopers. These were glimpses of how emotionally heavy Season 6 had been to film. Then came the moment that stunned everyone. A short recording of the cast gathering in a circle on set. No acting, no directing, just real people holding hands, their heads bowed. You could hear one of them say, voice trembling, "This season is taking us deeper than ever. We need strength for this." Wasn't dramatic for show, was a quiet cry for support from a group of actors. Stepping into the most painful chapters of the story, fans weren't prepared for the emotional punch. They expected excitement, not vulnerability. But the cast's honesty made everything feel more real. One actor explained, through a short interview clip that some days on set left them drained for hours. Another shared that filming certain scenes required stepping away to breathe because the emotional pressure felt overwhelming. It became clear that Season 6 wasn't just hard to watch, it was hard to create. The director added another layer to the bombshell. He revealed that parts of the season had to be rewritten, not because of production issues, but because the story was affecting the cast more deeply than expected. They wanted to handle every moment with respect, care, and truth. They refused to rush the painful parts. They refused to soften the reality of what was coming. And so, filming slowed. Scenes were revisited. Emotions were honored instead of hidden. The chat fell almost silent, a rare moment during a massive live stream. Fans typed slower, more carefully. Many simply wrote, "Thank you," realizing how much heart the team had poured into this season. The cast wasn't just performing a story, they were carrying it. This behind-the-scenes reveal didn't shock fans with flashy announcements. It shocked them with honesty, with the reminder that the story they love comes with real, emotional weight for the people bringing it to life. And the mood in the live stream shifted once again. Everyone watching knew, if the creation of Season 6 was this heavy, the final reveal, still waiting ahead, might be even more overwhelming. The live stream felt different now, quieter, heavier, almost sacred. Fans sensed that something big was coming, but no one expected what happened next. The director took a deep breath, glanced at the cast, and then turned toward the camera. His eyes carried the weight of someone about to deliver news that would stay with people long after the screen turned. Dark. He clicked the remote one last time. The screen faded to black. For a moment, there was nothing. Just silence, thick, tense, and endless. Then slowly, letters began to appear on the screen, glowing in soft white. Season 6, the beginning of the end. The chat exploded. Some typed in all caps. Others just kept repeating, "No way, no way, no way." The words didn't need explanation. This wasn't a hint. This wasn't a tease. It was a declaration. The story that had carried millions for years was finally entering its most emotional and heartbreaking chapter. But the reveal didn't stop there. The screen shifted again, showing a brief, silent montage just a few seconds long. Jesus walking alone through a dimly lit street, the disciples arguing in the shadows, a Roman banner hanging over a crowded marketplace, Mary crying into her hands, and a final shot of the disciples looking toward something off-screen, their faces filled with fear and disbelief. Then it cut to black once more. No music, no narration, nothing. The studio sat in silence. The cast looked shaken, some swallowing hard, others staring at the floor. This wasn't entertainment anymore, it was a moment of truth. A moment that announced the emotional storm fans had always known would come, but never wanted to face. The director finally spoke, his voice soft but steady. Season 6 begins the path toward the events we have all discussed, feared, and respected. This journey will be painful, but we will walk it together. Those words hit harder than any trailer, harder than any twist, harder than any shock from earlier in the live stream. Fans realized they weren't just watching the next step in a series, they were stepping into history, into heartbreak, into the moment the world would never forget. The live stream slowly wrapped up after that, but nobody truly moved on. People stayed in the chat long after the stream ended, typing their feelings, their fears, their love for the story and its creators. It felt less like the end of a video and more like the start of something unforgettable. The reveal didn't just break the live stream, it reshaped the entire future of The Chosen. And now, every fan waits not just with excitement, but with a heart prepared for the journey ahead.